Hey. There we go. I love that I can put you on that side now on your channel, so you're in the hosting spot. I'm glad that they did that upgrade, but it's on to you, sir.
Hey, guys. I don't know if I'm live or not.
You are live. Yes, sir.
There we go. Oh, I just messed up my pop-up. Oh, well. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. We're just going to kind of continue. Oh, we lost Shy.
Should be right back.
Okay, great. But, yeah, it's great that we're doing it live, guys. Oh, we got a whole mess of people. But I've got to get my pop-up. But like Bob said, I'm pretending. I can only see like the small stuff. I could see that. One-liners I can see.
While you're doing that, I'll just say some hellos while you get settled in. Sand Creek Aquatics, 2 Dave's Aquarium Thoughts, Fish Tropic, Griffin Fish Room, Candy Overhauls, Steve Fott saying hello. Bob Keller's Aquatics, Griffin Fish Room, T-Bone, Melvin Rebuilding Our Brand, Cody's Son, rolling through here, Roxanne Powers, Deb Hall D, Recon 338, Keller's Aquatics again, Justin Powers, Darlene's Tanks. I'm sure I'm skipping people. Tanks, sir. Hey, how's it going? Danikin Aquatics. What's up, brother? Fish Tropic, because Beth. Hey, Tampa Tom Fishing is in here live. I'm so used to him having to hit the replays. Brother, it's good to see you. I tell you what, Tampa Tom is one of those people that he loyally will watch and comment on every single stream after the fact. He'll hit the replays, and I always am looking out to respond to his comments, and I appreciate him. Benoxky's Tanks, Mike Stenbaugh.
I'll need a new streamer thing.
Okay, I've got to send her a link. You got yours up now, Ed?
Yes, I do.
I'll try and take over to you.
With Tampa Tom here, next time we go down to Florida, we need to get your email or your phone number or something so we can hook up with you too, because I bet you know some great places to eat. That's always one of James and my favorite goals, and some cool shops. And we got Father Fish, who's an amazing shop, but we could do all sorts of stuff. And if you'd want to go with us to like one of the farms or collecting with Father Fish, that'd be really neat too. So we'll most definitely want to hook up with Tampa Tom. Okay, well, we'll just talk briefly about Antibiotoid. We talked about it a little bit last hour. We had some great submissions, some super ones this time. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Thank you for the sponsors that sponsored it. I don't have a list of sponsors close by, so I can't really go through the whole thing. But, yeah, I think it was another successful month and a lot of fun. And we appreciate everybody that did it. And Lefty did an amazing job, and so did Zen Ginger. I think those two are our two technical genius people. And they set up a Facebook page so you can go and check out a lot of the entries. I don't know if they're all there. Maybe Zen would know. Lefty's in bed because he's going back to work now. Yep. But Zen, do you know, is everybody's entry on the Facebook page? Because we could even bring up the Facebook page.
We could.
And just pop stuff. You know what? Let's just do that quick. We'll just do a quick rundown.
Go ahead and pull it up, Ed.
Okay. Click, 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 click. Oh, wait. Does it make sense for me to make clicky noises? I am so terrible for poor James. I make him do all the technical stuff.
Oh, it's fine. I just like to give you a hard time sometimes.
Wait,
all right.
This is click, 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 click. Even my cat looked at me like, what the heck? But
Anabantoid.
Yep.
And that's awesome. We got 73 members in there this time around. That is fantastic.
Now, there's one art thing that everybody keeps talking about, and they're telling me, wait till you see this, Ed. And I can't wait to see it. Lefty said he sent me the folder, but he didn't explain to me where he sent it. So I don't know where it is. Okay, let's see here. And we won't be able to show videos, except I guess we can. That looks pretty amazing. Oh, this is actually, though, the computer video. So I was thinking it would mess up like showing it from a TV or something.
No, well, and I pay the premium to have the higher quality, so it works a little bit better that way. That's a
Super
beautiful
cool.
fish.
It is.
I don't know if you just wanted me to scroll through and
Yeah,
show
let's
off
just
the
scroll.
posts, or
We'll just go kind of quick. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Let's see if we see any, if it's all betas or, oh, that one James got me last week. He got me that little pastel half moon. That's not an entry. That was just I had to show off at least one beta.
that's funny. I didn't realize it was your post, and I went, "Ooh, I really like that. That's one that I would buy." And then you said that
You
I'm like,
did.
"Oh, yeah." So real quick, we did have a question. We did have a question. Wow, words are hard. Mike Stenball was asking, Ed, what side are you doing the fantasy football league on?
Oh, yes, we need one guy. So, who was that, Mike?
Yes.
It's a Yahoo website. We're doing point per reception. The draft will be live Monday at 4 Central. No, 4 Eastern. And I kind of had to do some math because my Yahoo thinks that I still live in St. Louis. So that's Central Time. But I think I got it right. And we'll be doing it live on camera. So we'll have a draft board kind of up. Hopefully, we're hoping, of the Yahoo thing, kind of like this, of the face. Ooh, look at that. And so you'll be able to see the drafts as they go. We can heckle each other and talk. I can have up to 10 people on the screen. I think we'll try to do our best. I know that Jesse wants to come up. I don't know if anybody else has said that they want to join us, but I'm sure Danikin for sure wants to be up there. Kenny. So, it's going to be kind of like a live draft at a bar, but on live camera. So, and the fish folks, y'all might get really bored because it's a football thing, but we're going to have fun.
Well, here's the thing. Like Ed mentioned, I'm his tech guy. I'm going to be playing commentator on this thing, and I don't follow football at all. So, if nothing else, it should be fun being able to just make fun at me for not knowing what the heck I'm talking about. Doing commentary on football picks.
I bet you'll be great.
Now that is so. Look at this. The picture's moving as I.
This one is. I bet you this is Susan. She was telling me about how she did a 3D Grammy shot.
That is awesome.
That is really neat. Now, can you twist it so we can see if we can see behind the tail?
Well, it only let me. Here.
I don't know how they do that.
That's what I'm getting.
Okay. Well, it's pretty cool.
Very cool. I don't have the chat up while I'm doing this, Ed, so hopefully you do. There's some art.
Ooh, we got some art. That's awesome. Super
very cool. Look at that. Some leather work.
Oh, wow.
Very neat. I encourage you all to go check out this page. I mean, you're seeing kind of the quick skim through here, but there's a lot of other stuff that you can get into and go down a rabbit hole, if you will. Oh, let me get up here. Oh, I like the colors. I like the pattern.
Yep, that's a pretty guy, too.
It is. Oh, there's a nice, pretty gourami.
Yeah, so far we've had 2 Grammys. Last time it was kind of I felt bad. What are we looking for? A passion fish? Oh, was there a passion just not too long ago?
There was paradise fish,
or
gouramis, and bettas. I don't think there was. There might have been.
Last time it was basically guppies, endlers, and mollies. And there wasn't a single molly. And so that was kind of a sad deal. And I would have done something other than the most common betta, but that's all I have in Pasilia was. And I got that the last day of the deal. What was that? An alien or a samurai? Or
here's the thing, which I don't think we really talked much about it with the Project Posilia. the Facebook page is going to remain open. That group is going to continue on. And I would encourage people to still, go on there and talk Anabantoids. You can still post pictures of your fish. You can still have great conversations with people. If you're somebody that's maybe watching this that wasn't even familiar with it, you're looking into getting into keeping these fish, but maybe you're not, entirely sure what the requirements are, or, you want some more info on them. What an awesome place to go get some information from some people that are already keeping these fish successfully.
And Candy is so cool. She even posted the Facebook page, and I'm sure we'll be doing it again this time next year.
Yep.
Bob said he lost 2 of his mollies from Bermuda Triangle.
I'm sorry to hear that, Bob.
Crazy sword tails. They were called vampire sword tails. They were like a lyre tail, but they were super long, like a sword tail, top and bottom. That was pretty neat. Susan was there. She saw it.
So since this is not my channel, I can do this without being shameful. We've got 69 people watching and 46 thumbs ups. This is, awesome. I'm so used to you being over there. You're up here now. This is this guy's channel, so let's give him some likes if you would, please. He's an amazing guy, and he was gracious enough to let me run over my time a little bit tonight. So I would appreciate giving him some thumbs ups, but thank you all very much for being here.
I look at James and I as like a radio DJ team, and so I just have so much fun with James. I really appreciate him.
Oh, dude, I appreciate you.
Oh, Susan said that was her Grammy.
Nice.
So that's awesome. That was really cool. Hey, Melvin's here. How you doing, buddy? Well, I don't know
how far you wanted me to go through this or not.
We've probably seen enough, because just to give everybody an idea, because everybody can go to the website and check it out and join us there and say hi and everything else.
Absolutely. I definitely encourage it.
Boy, I'm so not used to seeing myself on this side. I normally
you want me to flip it back?
It doesn't matter. I'll move my chat over here to the other side. And unfortunately, I just closed it.
Uh-oh.
Unfortunately, I can't see Shy, but I've actually popped out 2 of these now, so we're not in trouble. Okay.
Right. No, Mains, Tails, Fur, and Finn asked if we told who the winners are. Ed and I still haven't even voted. What we did for Project Basilia was we actually got together on a StreamYard like this, but we did it privately and went through all of the entries on there. And that was a lot of fun for us as judges to do. So I think Ed and I are going to do that again. And if any of the other judges would like to be a part of that, just let us know and we can pick a time that works for everybody.
Yeah, did we have Guppy Guru, Rack, and Lefty was in there?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. Maybe we could get Zen to join us.
That would be cool.
Maybe I'll just be the 3 of us, James. We haven't talked to Zen for a while.
So what is the page that you pulled up your top 20 fish on? And I'll get that pulled up so that people can look at that. And yes,
it's called... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we've got 9 more minutes left on Thursday here. Someone did ask if it was still Thursday here. And, of course, there are other time zones that have more time. But go ahead, Ed. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Yes, you go west or east, they have more time. Okay, so it's called Fish Keeping World.
I about type that in the chat. Let's get back over to Google here.
Yeah. Type that in, and they have the 17 most popular freshwater fish of 2020. And it looks like this. Oh, I can't see myself, so I don't know. Let me, I guess maybe I do need to see myself.
Oh, you're good. Let me do this. All right.
Minus the little picture of Priscilla in the corner.
Right. So I think I've got it. What's your number 1 on that list?
My number, well, their
or
number 1.
Do you want to start at the other?
No, I think we ought to start at the top because everybody else can see it too.
There we go.
The Neon Tetra.
Okay, I'm not on the same list.
Oh, and I bet you if we asked Priscilla, the Neon Tetra is her number 1 seller.
Here we go.
I don't know if that's the biggest profit margin, maybe, but They sell a lot of them. I just don't know if I'd make the neon tetra the number one fish, but it's really hard to argue. Let's see what Priscilla said here.
It does have a lot of pop-up ads on here.
Shy, what do you think? Do you think the neon tetra should be the number one? It's probably the number one sold.
I'm not a fan personally.
That's all right.
I agree with Tampa Tom. Number one, guppies.
Let's see. Number two is guppies. So we pull it down.
Sorry, I'm trying to get all these ads to go away here.
Yeah, I know. They're really annoying.
That's a really good guppy.
Now, the one thing I hate about pet store guppies is they have, they never get the boy and the girl, it seems like. They never have the strand. It's like the pet stores, I think I've heard that the pet stores get the good-looking boys and the good-looking girls go to the box stores, and the kind of the crappier girls get to the pet stores, and then the good girls go to the box stores. I don't know if that's true. I've heard that. I know, though, that Petco, if you look, you can tell they keep their own lines because you can find their females and their males are just in separate tanks.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know about PetSmart.
I have found out, like if an LFS is ordering off a wholesale list, it makes a huge difference if they just order 50 assorted guppies versus actually going in and kind of handpicking what they legitimately want. It makes a huge difference in the guppies they get in. So,
good or bad?
Well, if they're doing it, good,
price-wise.
Because so the price. How do I say this without getting too into detail? The tank price did not change for them to order in a higher quality guppy versus ordering a generic 50 pack of guppies. So there was no price difference to the end consumer, to the hobbyist making the purchase, but they had much prettier and better guppies when they didn't just order a generic multi-pack.
And there's totally nothing wrong with mutt guppies.
No, I love mutt guppies.
I have this one mutt guppy fry tank, and now I have no problem buying just random pretty boys at the pet store. And I'm absolutely loving it. So my mutt guppy tank might end up being a lot bigger than this 20 long, just because I'm enjoying them so much. Let's see.
Chewy's got a
I'm trying
comment
to
there.
read what he's saying. Here,
That
you
helped
read it.
better. I got it popped up on here. All right, Chewy LTD says they are sold separately. Males are in more in demand for one, and mutts are sold in pet shops. If you want purebred, they can get those too, but it is what's called shop level genetics at Chattanooga Ed.
That's interesting.
It is indeed.
Yeah, I gotta ask. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna Pet Zotic / Multiple Aquarium said Petco keeps them separate because they don't want to deal with fry. They sometimes don't get molly or other live bear fry in their tanks, but they can't sell them. Yeah, so I found a lot of times if you're buying some guppies and there's some fry in there, they'll just say, "Hey, you want these fry with it for free?" So that they can get them out of there as quickly as possible if they do end up with fry.
And everybody loves fry.
And then Dragon Lair said that was true with my pink guppies at Petco Ed. They got females the same time they got the males, just were in separate tanks. Candy reminding everybody to hit the like for Chattanooga Ed, please. So I'm going to scroll down to the next fish here, and then I'm going to step away for just a moment. Let Miss Fever take over for a second here.
All right.
That's an interesting one.
That is interesting, and this is right up Shy's alley.
It is. Oop, hold on just a second.
The Oscar. Everybody, boy, these are horrible. I picked the worst glasses. Let's see. Sometimes you buy really cheap glasses at the dollar store, and it just looks like you're looking through Coke bottles. Okay, that's much better. But yeah, everybody loves the Oscars. They're like the dog fish that everybody loves, or the puppies. I've never had one. I don't know if Shy can hear me, but she has definitely had them.
I have 3.
Shy, oh, you have 3.
I do.
Now, what
I
type?
have a tiger, a lemon, and I'm not sure what the other one is.
What do you think about the? Have you seen those long fin ones?
My lemon is a long fin.
Now, isn't that bizarre? It just looks different on a Oscar because they always look like kind of like a box, and then all of a sudden you dress them up with fancy fins.
Well, I think it looks a lot weirder on the black variations than it does on the white and the lemon.
Now, when I used to work at the factory, a lot of people they would come to my house and look at my fish tanks, and they'd be like, "Oh man, I got to get a fish tank." And then they would get a fish tank, and then almost half of them would always get Oscars, and it was always strange to me because I never had an Oscar. And
They're puppies. They're
yeah,
water puppies.
my fear is they just won't live long. What's their lifespan? Do you know?
A well taken care of Oscar can live up to 20 years.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Big J says, Ed, you getting an Oscar? No, Big J, we're just going through what this one website said is the top 25 fish in America. So they say the Oscar is the number 3 fish in America. And, for popularity, the Oscar just might be, really, and like the neon might be the most sold to kids. So I can totally see that.
When James was talking about starting up the hobby again back in the beginning of this, an Oscar was one of my biggest requests. And then we got Mo by accident, which is my big guy that I don't know what he is. And then we bought Bubbles. Yes, I named my fish.
That's all right.
But we got him. He's a tiger Oscar. And then I found this pretty little longfin lemon. And I was like, I really want it. And he's like, you have enough Oscars. And I'm like, you have enough piranha and guppies. I'm getting the Oscar.
And you won. Do you ever have aggression problems?
No, not really.
And they're all in the same tank together?
Mm-hmm. My big guy is kind of the alpha, so the other 2 go wherever he goes. I think if we were to take the really big one out, the 2 smaller ones would be kind of lost on what to do. But
yeah,
all 3 of them together, and they're good.
People bring up good points. The Oscar needs to be in a big home. Totally agree with that.
Do you want to say that?
I don't know if you guys follow Danikin Aquatics, but he had a whole mess of them, and I literally named 2 of them for him, and I don't think he's going to go with the name or not, but that's how every time I see him, I called them Bonnie and Clyde because they were killing all of his other fish. And that's what I fear is the Oscars like getting a mean off. Now those 2, he said, the male and the female that paired up that are killing everybody, they're doing it because they don't want anybody to mess with their babies eventually. But it's just a worry for me. I think I just want to keep.
So here's where YouTube gets to crap on us. Again, the joys of being a fish keeper publicly. The Oscars are in one of the old-fashioned 100-gallon tanks. It's a 5-foot tank. It's got weird dimensions to it.
Well, T-Bone just said no less than 55, so you doubled T-Bone's thing.
Yeah, generally it's 55 for one, and then usually it would be. So if I had an extra 120, here's the thing. Her big one, what she leaves out is her big one doesn't really like other fish so much that aren't Oscars. So if it weren't for the fact that it would probably murder my Weissers, I'd stick it in the 125 when I move the Weissers over.
Yeah, he ate them.
But he already ate a hybrid red tail tiger shovel-nosed cat that was about the same length. Of course, it wasn't as tall and fat, but he doesn't really care for other fish.
Chewy says you need at least 300-gallon tank for a good breeding pair.
We don't want a breeding pair.
Yeah, I don't want them to breed, so there's that.
Yeah, that's another thing is some people don't like Oscars at all because they think they're ugly. I know that probably sounds terrible, but some people think they're adorable, some people just don't. And if you end up with a bajillion of them, then you might have a real problem. I mean, I guess that works with all fish. But with live bear,
I think it depends on the size of the Oscar too. Everybody loves the cute little ones. When they start getting this size, that people are like, "Oh, I don't know about that."
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like the one that I call Mo, he's probably the size of a dinner plate.
He's a big fatty.
He's a big old boy. But I bought him that way. Because I went in and, the Oscar moping on the bottom of the tank.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't leave him. James was like, I thought you wanted a little one. And I'm like, I did, but I can't leave him.
Yeah, and they, unfortunately, you see so many big ones get dropped off. It's like Chewy made a very good point. You have to make sure they're properly looked after throughout their whole life. So many people get these cute little bitty Oscars, and then they get like this, and they just drop them at the pet store. So we actually get calls or texts from time to time about really big fish that nobody wants.
If you're going to get rid of them, take them to a pet store. Don't put them in your waterways.
Yes, absolutely.
One of my neighbors was talking to me about how he goes down to Florida and they were fishing in a lake, and every cast they brought in Oscars. He said they caught. And the thing is with that, since it's not a native fish, they can catch as many as they want. They caught dozens, and they filleted them up, and they were delicious.
But
so,
could you imagine? I was saying, can you imagine the impact a dozen Oscars would have had on that little area that we were catching all those golden top minnows and the Heterandria formosa? I mean, they would have just devoured those fish right out of there.
But somebody did put the jewel cichlids. We pulled out one jewel cichlid. So, people just they aren't thinking right, because if there's enough jewel cichlids in there, everything's going to be gone too.
Yeah, Chewy said, or Ohio Fish Rescue. There's a prime example of people getting things they're not prepared for.
Yeah.
Getting a pacu or a peku and having a 20-gallon tank and thinking you're going to be good because you don't do the research, and you get a little fish like this. That's it. Go ahead.
Look what Diego just said.
Petzotic / multiple aquariums. We have approximate 3-4-inch Oscars at Petco, and people often ask, can they be in a 10-gallon? And will they be okay with other tropical fish? Yeah, so that is my running joke, because we've all heard of the 1 inch per gallon. I like to make the joke that you can put a 10-inch Oscar in a 10-gallon tank with the 1 inch per gallon rule. Obviously, that's a joke. Please don't try that at home. Dear God, please don't. But it's a shame, especially in this day and age when you have everything, right here. It's so easy. I've run across fish, because I don't claim to be an expert by any means, but I've run across fish in a fish store that I'm not familiar with that I would really like to keep. The very first thing I do before I even ask a question out of the people at the LFS is I pull that fish up on the phone and I do my research, and I say, okay, how big does it get? What water parameters does it need? What's its typical behavior like? And I say typical behavior because individual fish can vary. So you can have, example, one Oscar that will eat catfish and then one that's perfectly fine. Where like we've got a green terror, and we had Ed seen the black skirt tetra that was in, or no, he was in with the Viejas in Spillum. Yeah, a big old Vieja. That Vieja didn't bother that black skirt tetra one bit, didn't care. Whereas you put it in with another fish, another Vieja,
protected it.
Yeah, and that Vieja might have eaten it. So, but you can get a general behavioral idea off of your phone. Just about everybody carries one at all times.
Okay, so The Oscar was number 3. Let's see what number 4 is.
All right, and while I'm scrolling real quick, I'm going to address Mr. Fisher asking if I would keep one Oscar in a 55. No, I would not, simply for the fact that you've only got 12 inches in a 55 gallon. I'm not recommending you do this, but I would be more likely to keep an Oscar in a 40 breeder than I would a 55, simply because of the tank dimensions. I mean, you're looking at a fish that you don't want it touching the front and back glass at the same time. I'm not going to keep one in a 40 breeder. I'm not recommending that, but I wouldn't do a 55. I would go with at least a 75, honestly, just because you've got a little bit more room.
I mean, I might put Angel in a 40 breeder.
Yeah, when they're smaller, you could, but as we all know, stuff happens, and maybe you don't end up getting that tank that you knew you were going to get. But there's my answer on it.
All right, Molly's.
I like Molly's.
I do too. Oh. Well,
you're banned. Get at it. No,
I know, right?
So now we've got 2 live bears, a tetra, and whatever Oscars are. Are they mouth breeder, or do they put the babies in their mouths? What do? Do they just drop? They probably drop their eggs on a rock and protect them.
I thought they were Are they not a live bear?
I thought they were pregnant and dropped them like guppies did.
Let's read here. They're omnivorous and will require a diet of both plant and animal food. They are live bears. There we go.
Wait, you're reading Molly's, or are you reading?
That's what we're talking about. Molly's, right?
Well, yeah, we were talking about the Oscars.
Oh, you backtracked.
At least Candy agrees with me.
Got you. I thought because you started off talking about Molly's and then you said, "Wait, do they?" And I'm like, Ed, you know they're live bears. What?
I know they're live bears. I've already got 5 wild ones in that tank.
I thought you were maybe having a brain fart, so I just picked it up and was like, I tried to nicely say that, no, you're wrong.
But I got Candy on my side.
Oh, Candy said something?
Don't like them either, Shy.
Oh, Candy. But they're so nice. Platies
they're so weird.
What's really weird about them, if you look really close at their mouths, their whole front of their mouth is like teeth. So that way they can just pick algae right off of something if they want. It's really weird. It's like you see the teeth just grow right into their face. I like them.
And they have a constant, I swallowed a marble look.
Well, the balloon mollies do.
Even that one does.
Let's don't talk about balloon mollies. That's a whole nother subject.
No, I mean, even this one, if you look at the body shape, it just has a big fat belly. I don't like it.
This is a perfect
big fat belly.
Swedish fish. Is it Swedish candy fish?
Mm-hmm.
You know, those red rubbery things? That's the shape of them. I think that's the iconic fish shape. Okay, next. Oh, zebra danios. That's neat. Well,
very, very pretty fish. I've not kept them. I do like the long fins. I've seen the long fin ones a lot lately in the pet stores. Candy says also Swedish fish are terrible.
Candy. Gosh.
I agree with Candy.
My first 2 fish in my whole life was a gold and a black molly. And my dad put them in like a little fish jar. You know, one of those little bitty flat round fish bowls. You know, it was like that big. And yeah, they didn't last the night. He probably put tap water in it. I was like 3. But from there, he learned how to take care of them. And then he ended up breeding and selling guppies and cory cats to pet stores all over Missouri and Kansas. So, you know, it takes one mess up. Thank you, Molly's. Okay. Danios, I grew up with Danios.
It's more the fact that it makes their spine look crooked, Mr. Fish.
Oh, is Mr. Fish on my side?
You just asked what was wrong with big fat bellies.
Oh.
They constantly look kind of like humpback. Like, if I saw a guppy with that shape, I'd call it.
That makes sense.
Okay, so enough said about Danios. Is there a swell cheap fish for kids?
Real quick, 72 people watching, 57 thumbs ups. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for hitting that like button. You are awesome, and we really do appreciate you. Oh, look what's number 6.
Oh, there's the platies. and Dirty Platy even called it. Well, the one thing about platies is those little guys are like raptors. I have guppy grass in with my, I used to have a whole bunch of blue ones, and I gave them away because basically when I'd see the little fry, they would just go, like a shark from a shark movie, just rip through the guppy grass to get their babies. And I mean, it's crazy. It's like punch. And I was like feeding them crazy, but they liked eating their babies more than anything. But with that said, when I was cleaning out the tank, I found like 20 fry in the tank. So I've got blue platies still. But oh well. I'll probably grow these out and give them away someday. So, what do you think about platies, Shy?
I played the 5th. I've upset enough people. I'm just going to play the 5th.
No, nobody's upset about anything.
I don't know if you can read Chewy's comment. I'm a little bit further out from the monitor than I normally am.
Come here.
Let's see.
Oh, go ahead.
They are more than that. They are one of the primary fish for human health research, Chattanooga Ed. They deserve a lot of respect, actually.
The Danios or the Mollies? Or the Platies, rather.
Platies.
Well, that's cool. I've got some cute little blue ones. And then there's a couple of I think they call them sunset ones. They got the orange body with, instead of like this one has the black, it has bright yellow. And I keep looking at them. So I'm thinking about maybe getting those for another tank.
Ooh.
And maybe we'll mix blue and yellows and see what happens. Maybe
no, the zebra Danios, Chewy says. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, the zebra Danios, the Missouri Conservation would use those, and they would take like 100 of them and throw them into your, they would actually dye them. So they were like the original glowfish. They would dye them and then dump them in your fish or in your pond in your backyard, and they'd come out at night and they would count how many died to see how your water is. I know that sounds terrible, but if they all lived, then your fish would have something to eat. That was what the Missouri Conservation used to do. Probably before glowfish got real popular, and they probably got sued for it or something, or told not to do it anymore. But, okay. Cherry barbs. Oh, what?
Daniken, I agree. Daniken says, I'm loving Shy being on the stream. Me too. I'm glad that she's a little bit more willing to come on the streams now. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of her.
Okay, hold on. Let me backtrack to the platies real quick.
Okay.
The platies have one advantage of the mollies, though. They still have this same humpback, weird look. But they're kind of like velociraptors. They're so ugly, they're cute.
They have cute faces.
Knowing their behavior, they're higher than platy, or they're higher than mollies. But still not something I would willingly go out and buy on my own.
So you'd probably reverse that and put the platies at 5 and the mollies at 7.
Oh, one dirty platy. I'm sorry.
I tried to make it a little better.
I will say I'm getting a bonus out of this in the fact that I'm getting good knowledge of what fish not to bring home. No mollies, no platies. I got you. Keep her happy, keep her loving fish.
But remember, our oldest, that's all he wanted for Christmas was a black molly tank.
Yeah.
And I'm really guessing that this might be the top 17 sold at pets. Well, I don't see how Oscars could be that high up in pet stores.
They sell a lot of Oscars. Because remember, normally they get them in little, 3-4 inches, sometimes smaller. I've seen them at Petco's and PetSmarts at 2 inches. And, so.
There are a lot of people buying those that shouldn't be. Okay, yeah. So the cherry barb, they look better when they're smaller.
And I would say that picture doesn't seem to really do the colors justice. I've seen some that are kind of dull, but I've seen some really, really beautiful cherry barbs.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, "That's a pretty fish."
That is a pretty fish, but I've seen some that the red is so amazing that I had to ask what the fish was, and then it was like, "Oh, that's a cherry barb." I think it was actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was at Sean Pectec's house. I think he's got some in a tank, and I'm like, "That fish is gorgeous. What is it?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a cherry barb," and I'm like, "Never seen one that red before."
Yeah.
So, me looking like an idiot at Pectec's house. Go figure.
I know. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to look stupid.
I don't care. I'll wear a boa on live stream. I don't care.
What's
I'm
this
not putting
rare
the
fish
bow
I've
on.
never seen before? A cherry barb. Okay, well, let's check out the next guy.
Ooh.
Oh, there we go. Grommies.
Kitty.
Oh, it's actually, is it a pearl grom? I'm
It
trying to
is.
look underneath the thing.
There we go.
But a pearl grommy. I wonder if it's just all grommies. Because they all should be, because it should be like all the mollies are put together and all the guppies are put together. I think we should just say grommy, unless the next one is like dwarf grommy or something. But
couple of things in the chat. Diego Pezalix is agreeing with you. There are a lot of people buying Oscars that shouldn't be. And then Joanna had a question. What's the difference between mollies and platies? Just size? You want to give that one an answer?
well, they're two different families. They can't mate with each other, but like the guppies can mate with a molly, and then they call that a moppy. But it's kind of like a mule and a horse make donkeys and horses make mules, I think. So it's kind of like that. Oh man, I don't know. Mollies get a lot bigger. Mollies can also go into salt water, no problem. I mean, you just don't. They have to slowly get to it. But yeah, you can find mollies everywhere in saltwater, freshwater. Like sometimes you'll see a fish store will actually have mollies in their frag tanks because they do a really good job just eating the algae. And it's so strange to see a molly in saltwater.
No, I'm actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just say those ones that we caught in Florida, once they get kind of moving on and popping more babies out, I'm wanting to put some of them into salt water. I think they'll really, really thrive in that.
Well, they're basically brackish water right now. I put so much salt in there, and now they're doing well. I don't know how long the guppy grass will live in there, but maybe I'll have to put other stuff in there other than guppy grass. They're enjoying the guppy grass, but the water that they pulled those guys out of, everything was dead. It was basically just like was it algae or like what was that? I mean, it was just sticks and leaf litter.
Yeah, it was a lot of leaf litter and muck. It had a really strong, almost sulfur smell. It smelled like you were huffing a bottle of Prime. For those of you that use the Prime water conditioner.
Oh, wow.
Like if you disturbed the bottom, like when we'd step in and it would sink, it would bubble up and it just smelled like Prime.
Wow. So, yeah, I think they really seem happy. I mean, they're swimming around in a pack. I don't have a light on the tank because I'm just trying to let them relax. Otherwise, I'd show you guys the tank right now. But, yeah, right now they're chasing air bubbles. So,
nice.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Well, we got an anabantoid. I'm surprised we haven't seen a betta. Oh, there's our other live bear. We got the swordtail, and those guys get a lot bigger. If whoever was asking about the mollies and the platies, the swordtails take a lot longer to. Oh, I got a cramp in my leg. They take a lot longer to grow out, but they get a lot bigger and real beautiful, streamlined. Now, do you like those, Shy?
Yeah, I like those.
Good deal.
They're neat. They're different.
Yep. I've always had success.
Good night, Dragon Lair. Good night, Recon.
Oh, night, guys. I've always had success reading those as a kid, so I would really like to tub some and let them get used to the outside and do that, because I just think things grow so much quicker outside.
I've not kept swordtails, but I've always been curious in them, or interested in them, curious about them. I think they're pretty fish. I think there are some really pretty ones. What is it? The Montezuma swordtails? I think. I want something kind of a little bit different than the standard Petco variety if I'm going to keep swordtails.
Well, did you see the vampire ones?
I did.
I don't know if that's really their name. That might just because they're a deep red, like blood red. But like you see this one black sword here, they literally had 2 of those coming off. Really neat fish. But they didn't have any females, so I would have bought them all if they had females.
And that's one of the problems going out with a whole bunch of fish tubers is you I don't want to say you get in fights, but there's definitely some of that. Oh, those are pretty. Oh, wait, Ed just bought all those. Or, oh, I like those. Oh, Bob's waiting in line to get those. So you kind of almost want to go try to get a different part of the store before the other guys real quick, just so you can find stuff before the other people do, and kind of let them find stuff first on the opposite end. Deb Hall D says Montezuma are huge, would be amazing. Yeah, so that's one that I've looked at someday, once I can. One day, cover your ears.
Yeah.
One day we will expand into a location that's not the house, and I can have more bigger, pretty display tanks.
Discus.
And James was never seen again.
Discus are definitely not one of the top selling fish, I don't think, because they're a tough fish.
Yeah.
But I would definitely put them up there as one of the best fish, or should be on the list.
So here's what I would like to say. Now, keep in mind, I don't own discus, but in talking to a lot of people that do own discus or have in the more recent past owned discus. What?
I need that blanket.
Oh, because I can close the air vent off.
No, because then you'll get hot. So I just grabbed my blanket.
I have found that most people that are keeping discus in this day and age say that they are a lot easier to keep than what people say and what they used to be. And there's Zinginger says discus are not difficult. Now, I guess 20, 30 years ago, it was a lot harder to keep them, but with a lot more, I would assume it being, we get more hobbyist bred ones now, and they're it's not as hard as, oh, everything's coming in wild, we've got to acclimate it, and they're really sensitive to that type of stuff. Everyone that I've talked to has said that discus are a lot easier to keep than most people give credit. Again, I would still say wild discus are probably a challenge, and I think that's what Chewy's saying, wild discus are difficult as in ginger.
I think you nailed it right on the head. I kept discus like 25 years ago, and I really enjoyed making their food. You could buy beef heart. They have to have high protein, so you give them beef heart. I would buy it, and it was expensive and everything. So what I did was I literally went to the butcher shop and bought a beef heart, like a cow heart, and a couple of big shrimp from the grocery store, and like a couple of ounces of tilapia. And I would grind it all up and then freeze it into little blocks. And it was so much fun to be able to make your own. It's the only fish I ever made my own fish food for.
Nice.
They loved it. I fed them too much, so that I had to come up with a fish that could handle their water parameters and everything. I went with a spotted Raphael, and they got big and fat because, I mean, they ate well. So, but it was just, they were difficult, and that's why I don't want to do them again. But that was 25 years ago.
Oh, killifish. I got some wild caught killifish in the fish rooms now.
I'm surprised. I mean,
now that I have heard is a rabbit hole all in and of itself. The killifish community. I hear that is one of those really hardcore communities if you go down the killifish wormhole.
Yeah, St. Louis has 2 clubs. They have all the freshwater fish, type of club, and then they have a killie club. And the freshwater people would say, like, you don't want to go to the killifish. It always reminded me, like, of West Side Story, when the 2 gangs hated each other. It's just, And I never had them. But now, what were those 4 fish that we got from Father Fish? He pulled out of his tank for us.
I don't know. I was hoping you did.
Friend Toast. Oh, man. I took a photo. I was wondering if they were a killifish.
I think I took a photo too. Let's look.
Yeah, we
I
both
got
did.
We got some killies. Hold on a second. Sorry.
Well, he gave us 4 each, and they're up in my tank. Let's see. They're in. Turn on my little glow stick.
I think it's on my other phone, the picture, because I took a picture of that chat too.
They're in that tank right there. And I've literally not seen them since I put them in. I put food in there, but yeah, they're so little, I have not seen them. After the stream, I should probably get on a ladder and really look into the back.
Yeah, no, Chevy fish are absolutely. They are called the Heterandria formosa. They're called these killies, but they're not actually killifish. They're an awesome little live bear, which I've actually got some fry from. But we did get some killies while we were down there as well.
This tank here is our green sailfin wild mollies. And none of them have sailfins right now. So I think they're all super young, or they may have been just kind of malnutrition. They didn't eat very well in that thing because there was like literally millions. And so I'm fattening them up. Maybe they'll get the sailfin and turn more green. Right now they just look like silver juvenile mollies.
Real quick,
Okay.
I don't think we have anybody that's going at 12:30 at this point. I think we've still got that 1 hour gap before Dave's Aquarium Thoughts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been flying now that we've broken it down into individual 1 hour segments. Like even Steamthought was like, wow, hour flies fast. I was like, dude, that was in terms of me hosting a horrible live stream I just hosted. I felt like I did a bad job, but it just kind of flew by. But if there was somebody that was going on, I'm sorry. I know there's somebody that's weekly scheduled right now for 12:30s that I'm aware of.
I never dreamt we would talk this much about these fish. I thought this would last 5 minutes. Sorry, folks. I figured we would go through the list and then talk about what we like. But meta number 12. Priscilla, you're here. Big J here. They've got to be more than your 12th number 1 sold saltwater fish.
I don't like bettas.
Wow, I can't believe they're 12th.
I don't like bettas at all.
I don't like bettas in cups.
Yeah, I don't like bettas in cups.
Melvin likes Grammies all the way around, I think.
Grammies are awesome. I love bettas. That's why I built a betta rack that holds 64 bettas. So.
Oh, and I've got all the pieces for the betta wall. I just don't know how to plumb it. So James is going to show me how to plumb it, and then we'll be putting betta in. I know it didn't happen during the month. I was trying, but, so many things going on. So
Fantastic Freak. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done there.
Nope. Let's just keep going.
I was just going to say, and I don't want to get too far off track, but Fantastic Freak says bettas in cups is borderline abuse, in my opinion. I don't disagree with that. I do want to play devil's advocate for a minute. So long story short, I had got a bunch of bettas. I put them in these larger plastic containers to give them more space. The problem was apparently some of those were manufactured different places. And best I can figure out, leached some toxic stuff into the water because I had issues that were not any normal type of fish sickness, and some bettas died off. So I moved them into some smaller glass vases. Yeah, I said vases instead of vases because everybody gives me a hard time, which had less room, but glass is inert, so there was no health risk to them. So I will say that they were moved into it. Was it better for me to have moved them into a larger space, which ended up potentially having contamination issues because I couldn't 100% validate the source of that plastic, or was it better to have them in something slightly smaller that wasn't inert, with the intention of moving them into something bigger?
And yours is just a temporary fix.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, I just don't think anybody could argue with you about that, because I mean, you're just trying to save them at that point.
Yeah.
So, but and I understand like pet stores doing it. If they're sitting there for months, it's horrible. But if it's just, maybe they're flying quick and they're only there for a couple days, So
I think we need more knowledge and information out there to let people know not to keep it in the darn cup after they buy it. I think that's the big thing. Is I think so many people go, oh, this thing's in a cup, I can take it home and sit it in a cup. Or I've seen things that you can hang on the wall that are literally designed to house a fish. And it's just this small little glass half of a bowl that you hang on the wall. And it's like, here, this is for they actually market them with goldfish. You can hang a goldfish on the wall. But I've also seen them for bettas. And it's like, I think there needs to be more upfront learning. But, and that's kind of playing devil's advocate, because again, as hobbyists, we need to be looking at what we're doing first. But most people buying fish, I feel like, and I know we've got some people here that work in fish stores, I feel like the majority of people buying fish are not what I would consider hobbyists. They're passive fish purchasers. And that's my better rant, and I'm sorry.
Zinc Injure says those 5-gallon hang off the walls are not 5, half-gallon. They're only half a gallon.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Those should be there, unless they're just saying one particular type.
But they're saying,
but
well, the picture is a sailfin or gibseps, and those get big. They're not as big as the common pleco, but they get bigger than most people can handle. And most people, again, don't know it. So with them putting that particular picture, I have to disagree. However, plecos are my favorite fish, so I'm glad to see them on the list.
Yeah, I would put that in with all of them, I think. I would put all plecos in that spot.
Yeah.
But come on, if you're going to put plecos there, put corridors up there.
Well, they might be in here somewhere still.
They better be, or I'm going to be fighting mad. I should have looked at the list. There's actually 2 different lists of 17. Somebody else made a list of 17, which I thought was goofy. I know that one had, the other one had guppies as the number 1 thing.
Oh, Steenfeld's not here, unfortunately. He'd like this one.
Yeah. After seeing Bob's and LRB's, and when I say Bob's, I mean Bob Kaler's. Man, I look at them at the aquarium, at the Tennessee Aquarium, all the time, but I think they look better in the fish tanks that I've seen. So, yeah. Rainbows. Okay, next.
I don't like rainbows either.
Is it because they have a weird body and a weird head?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I can see that. That's
Look at that, Ed.
all right. We got Corey's 15. That's a different. I don't know what type of Corey that is.
It doesn't say under the picture. Somebody in here knows. They're going to be quick to inform us what it is.
But yep, they deserve it. I've got Corys in most of my guppy tanks. I've got one group of Corys in this tank down here that are driving me crazy because they're constantly keeping the water cloudy. And I used play sand, and they just I tried using different. I wanted to do different substrates for a lot of different tanks just to see how they did over a year for a project. But the play sand is about to go. Just driving me crazy. And I did 2 tanks though with play sand. And this tank has play sand, and it's doing. And there's Corys in it. I don't understand why it's just. Oh, you know what? This one's play sand capped. That's why it's doing good. Never mind. Okay. So let's go on. Let's move on to Corys. But everybody should have Corys because they're wonderful.
Absolutely. So I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat, but in terms of Corys, Joanna asked what Cory is your favorite. Mine is the Panda Cory. I think they're absolutely adorable, and they've bred for me, so that always puts something up a little higher when it makes babies in the fish room.
I love bandit Corys. I think they look super cute because they got kind of like the band over their eye, and they got like a black spot on the end of their tail. I also like skunk Corys for my favorites, and I know they have proper names. But.
We'll see the pandas I got to look at when they were super small with the macro lens, and it was just so adorable. Their little panda stripes when they're that big little teeny tiny things. I just absolutely fell in love with them.
Yeah, I actually don't have any pandas. Goldfish. Well,
nailed it. He said, "Who wants to bet goldfish is on here?" I think Candy. I think it was also agreed with him.
Well, the other one I like.
A lot of people don't know this, but Pam from Punchy Paints, or is that her name? Is that Pam's Punchy Pant? Yeah. Well, she is a goldfish expert. You can ask her just about anything about goldfish, and she can answer it. A lot of people don't realize that, but she's awesome at the goldfish.
So Joanna had a question. Which do you think stand out on beige sand substrate? I would think personally an emerald would be awesome, or an orange laser. I mean, Julie's wood, turbine. I mean, there are so many. There are literally so many different corridors that they've gone into the alphanumeric naming system, just like they have with plecos. Like plecos have the L number, Floricaridae number, whatever. Panda Corys, Corys have that same numbering system because there are so many that are being found. So that's a rabbit hole you could go down on its own.
And what color was she saying?
Beige sand substrate.
I've got the same Corys in here as I do here with the dark. And these guys, they were all from the same spawn. These guys are almost completely dark brown, and these guys are all gold. So that sandstrate, or the color of your substrate really matters a lot. It's crazy on what you can get out of them.
Do you want the next one? The last one?
This is the last one. Oh, wait. Everybody should guess. Oh, angels. I was going to say everybody guess.
Sorry. I asked before I scrolled.
Well, angels make sense. I think they should have been above discus. I mean, we love discus more, but there's a lot more angels out there, and they're a lot more easier. And really, angels are pretty cool, too.
I don't like angelfish.
I don't know what an angelfish is.
As they got angels swimming behind them. I've got an angelfish that looks similar to these guys, and it turns its colors on and off just like a rainbow. It can have the super black stripes in the morning, and by the evening, it's all washed out and it's light silver.
I was just going to tell you, I got really excited for a second. When we went down to the Petco in Cleveland, I found another dusky rose blushing angel.
Did you get him?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
There was no option. She was good.
I got it, especially because they had it in the, what do they call it? Assorted veil angels. So it was $5.99. And I'm like, give me. They also had panda angels in there, too.
Well, so bizarre. When I moved down to Chattanooga, all the fish stores seemed like they had tons of angels. But when I was in St. Louis, I don't know what it is, but everybody liked the angels, and they cleaned them out. The angels were like the hardest thing to find in St. Louis.
Well, I think we've probably got 24 breeders that are constantly pumping out angelfish here in Tennessee alone, if not more. But I know at least that many that are constantly supplying local fish stores. So they're just about everywhere. That's part of the reason I haven't really done anything with breeding the angels, is I know that I would end up with a whole bunch of fish with nowhere to go. But
I still want to breed my duskies.
Yeah, well, if hers decide to breed, then that'll be something I'll have to do.
I need to ask Rob at Aquatic Aesthetics and He asked me to stop saying Hickson, Tennessee. So he said, say Chattanooga. See, Hickson is a suburb of Chattanooga, and I always say Hickson, but in Chattanooga, he doesn't have any angels, I don't think. I'm going to have to ask him why. Oh, he does. He has a couple of real big ones in the planted tanks. But
sorry, go ahead.
He doesn't have like the dozen little ones that you can buy, the nickel and quarter size.
Yeah. So a couple of things that had passed, I'm sure it was Chewy that mentioned it, because Chewy's always dropping the knowledge. Had mentioned goldfish possibly being on a ban list in Canada due to them being invasive and very difficult to eradicate. I could understand that. A lot of carp, which goldfish or Cyprinidae, are invasive and hard to get rid of. And then I did want to say, Joanna's says, interesting, can't wait to get Corys. I would say if you haven't had Corys before, I would recommend getting 6 of them. At bare minimum, get at least 3. But it'd be cooler if you got 6. And do us a favor, if they only have 7 in the tank and you're buying 6, just get the 7th one. Don't leave that little guy by himself. That's kind of one of my things when I'm in a pet store. If I want to buy 6 of something, or if there's going to be 1 fish left after my initial purchase, I just will get that last fish so I don't leave it by itself. But that's just a me thing.
Yeah. Corys are very social. So are like a lot of loaches. They like to be together, and it's sad when they're by themselves because they get stressed out. But when you get a whole group in a tank, they're awesome because they all go up and down. And they're following each other. Definitely what James said.
Well,
a school,
sorry.
A standard school. Oh, she's playing on a big school. That's awesome. 10 to 12. But yeah, I think a standard school, like a small school, would be 6. And I have seen 3 happy. The 3 will always be together.
Yeah.
But I would still always go 6. Also. Yeah. Thanks, James.
And I've had good luck, as a lot of people I've heard have, with mixing different types of Corys. And then you get this big school of different types of Corys all together in a tank. And it's really beautiful. People give a lot of credit to, schooling fish, like having, 50 of the same tetra in a tank or whatever. But I think that a large group of Corys, especially a mix of Corys, is also a very beautiful thing because they all like to swim together, like Ed mentioned.
And they also really like sand substrates, the soft substrates they love. Just throwing that out.
Yep. Not to disagree with you because they do love it, but to play the devil's advocate, Aquarium Co-op Corey, when he was in Peru, he was finding them on jagged substrate in the wild. But they do definitely prefer the sand. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. You do have to kind of just look into what you're going to get and be mindful of their barbels, that they can be damaged when digging. But just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well, and I totally liked how he said that. I saw that video too.
Yeah.
But it's still in a river, so they're still going to get beat together. Yeah. The sharp bits. And I think it's Eco-Complete that takes, is it lava rock, or basically lava that's crunched up, and it's great for plants. And a lot of people say that that's bad for corridors. I messed up and put some corridors in there, and they've been alive for over 2 years now. So, and I haven't noticed the barbels wearing down. But it's a lasagna, so there's a lot of other stuff in there too. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of hit or miss.
Sorry.
I just wouldn't do it just to be nice to them. Why sleep on a hard bed when you can sleep on a soft bed?
Well, maybe I want to sleep on a hard bed.
Yeah, maybe you got a bad back.
Mike Stembaugh says, I have not had issues with Eco-Complete or blasting media on Corydorus.
Okay. See, I haven't either. It's just, what people say.
I wonder if it's one of those things that came from, and not necessarily meaning the color, but clown puke gravel, when kind of aquarium stored gravel was the thing. A lot of that stuff is like really jaggedish / bulky, and it doesn't really give you a smooth overall substrate, if you will. I wonder if that's one of those things that kind of developed when that was kind of the go-to substrate, But a lot of people really don't use the buy it from Walmart gravel anymore. We use even like the pea gravel I get at Lowe's or Home Depot. That stuff is really smooth if you look at the individual stones on it compared to that generic hobby gravel. I'll call it that.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how rumors come up. It's bizarre, like how they work like a forest fire. They just spread like crazy in our hobby, and it's probably because there's just so much out there for us to take in, and we're all learning. So when we have somebody that says something, they sound like it's a fact, then it becomes a fact.
Yeah, and I would dare say that somewhere in truth is where that was rooted and where it started. Kind of like I go back to discus are hard to keep. Where that's not really a fact nowadays, unless we get into the logistics of wild discus. But in general, discus are not a hard fish to keep anymore. 25 years ago, that was an entirely true statement. Nowadays, not so much, but people still hold on to that and they go, "Oh, discus, those are too delicate. I don't want to kill them. I'm going to stay away." And Joanna, I just want to say, she said, appreciate the info, still learning here. We are all still learning. If you have stopped learning, then you're an idiot and you just think you know everything. Even Corey at Korean Co-op is still learning. That's part of what he does is he tries to figure out things. I mean, KG Tropicals, he's still learning, but that's John. He'll always be still learning.
Dan's probably one of the smartest fish guys I think I know, and he does these online seminars all the time to learn more. It's just so it's definitely just nonstop. But I was wondering, maybe I would think the hardest surface that maybe you could put them on would be like crushed lava rock, the soft stuff. Mm-hmm. If somebody would smash that up, that might be really sharp on them.
That might be. And now I will say that I've got, so somebody had mentioned them breeding in bare bottom. I've got my panda quarries, when they've bred, they've been in bare bottom aquarium, but I also have like a pile of lava rock on one side of most of those just for a good place for beneficial bacteria to grow, even though I have sponge filters kind of as a backup, if you will. And I have noticed they still go and dig through that lava rock, even though they have the option of not getting into that stuff. But it's not all really finely crushed. So I think you're probably correct. Dirty Platty says, Corey's don't like rough substrate as much as Shy doesn't like platies. But Zen Gingerhead said she's had, I think it was a year and a half, she's had Corey's on that pet store aquarium gravel with no problems. I don't doubt that, but I also don't. It feels like when I've come across like the old pet store gravel, the old stuff from 15, 20 years ago, it was a much funkier style of stone. The stuff that you get now is still kind of roughish, but the stuff back then was really bad from what I've seen. But
I could show you what my dad never put anything on the bottom of his tanks, but I'll show you what they look like because I've got one left.
Yeah, fantastic freaks. I agree. The day one stops learning is the day one stops fish keeping.
I'll put my earphones on in just a second. But it's a slate, and I mean, you can't find a better surface for fish to lay out, be happy on. His corridor is normally laid up and down on the glass, the eggs. But man, I wish they'd still make tanks out of slate bottoms. I think it's pretty cool. But okay, let me go back and put on my earphones. I can hear.
Chewy LTV says the only way you can kill a discus nowadays that is ornamentally bred is keep them with Rift Valley cichlids. Yeah, I mean they're a lot hardier than they used to be. I mean there are some really good strains that one could almost consider bulletproof in terms of we get into really healthy fish.
One still won't let me have one.
What, discus?
Yes.
I'd want to do a really nice tank. If we had not gotten Nathan's fish, St. Creek Aquatics fish from Amy, I had intended to turn this into a discus tank actually, but since those angels needed a home and we had angels, I figured what better thing to do than have them all on stream all the time so that people would still be able to see them. Otherwise, we would have gotten discus, but we may still get discus someday.
Awesome. Yeah, when 25 years ago when I was doing the discus, everybody told me I had to do all this stuff to my water to make sure that it wasn't hard, very soft. And so I would always be treating it. But, I never tried putting them in my hard water. And I think that's what people have found is fish do a lot better in hard water than everybody thinks, or at least they used to think. And now hopefully that doesn't turn into some type of legend, because it couldn't be not true for other fish. But I think that's what they're discovering with a lot of the discus.
Ed has started his own fish lore now.
Yeah.
Yes, Amy, they are growing, and a couple of them have actually tried to breed with a couple of the ones we already had.
I was looking for the one because the one we got from her was about the size of a nickel, and it's closer to that size now.
These things will eat all day long if you feed them.
Oh, actually, there it is. That one. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it was about the size of a nickel when they brought it back.
Yeah, now it's like a silver dollar.
Yeah.
Now look, Zen says that hers are in 7.4, so that's awesome. So I was just, told you can't do that 25 years ago. And I think I chemically killed my fish with water changes. So, yep.
Well, it is 12:54 a.m. here on the East Coast in the United States. I don't know exactly what time you wanted to wrap it up, Ed. We do have Dave's Aquarium Thoughts. Wow, sorry, Dave, I lost your name for a second. In about 35 minutes by the time y'all hear this.
Well, let's go 5 minutes, and then everybody will have a half hour.
All right.
And Dave does a great show. You guys got to check Dave out. He has like really cool things. He'll pop up on. He's almost like a newscast or something because he can pop images up. A lot like how James is doing here, but these are like all pre-planned. It's pretty neat.
I'm glad you understand, Dave. Well, we've got 63 people watching and 63 thumbs ups. Thank you all very much for that. Very much appreciated. I appreciate y'all supporting this guy.
Oh, James Sear or Dave Sear, awesome. What else was I going to say? Well, did we find one fantasy fish person? Because we need one fantasy football fish person. And our draft will be, if anybody wants to watch us live, you can ask us fish questions. There will be a whole bunch of people there that know a lot about fish. We got a whole bunch of YouTubers that are going to be on there. But it might be funny just to watch us. That'll be at 4 o'clock Eastern on Labor Day. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern will be the Lefty Show, and I go on with Lefty, and it's always a lot of fun. You never know what we're going to talk about. Lefty kind of comes up with the plan and then throws it at me last minute. 1 week we had Shy on there, and we talked about Harry Potter, and I learned more about Harry Potter than I'd ever learned before or knew before. And we talked superheroes, we talked fish, we've talked you name it. I think we always talk about a board game every week, so we mix it up. If you guys have anything that you want to say in there, we'll talk about that.
So I think you might have a 12th with Mike Stambaugh there asking what's the link to enter the draft. So you want to message Chattanooga Ed on Facebook.
Yep. That'd be awesome, Mike. We'd love to have you.
Real quick, I wanted to say Deb D. Hall is going with what I figured we should do real quick was kind of finish that and make it a top 20. Deb Hall D said would add white/gold cloud minnows, Mount minnows to the list.
I like that.
Do you have 3 fish that you would add to that list, Ed?
Oh, jeepers. Well, I like the white clouds are pretty cool. I would love to see rice fish, but we don't have enough of them in this country, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I think half beaks are really cool, but that might be too rare. I think bishure are neat. Maybe we could go with all the lungfish. Bishure and
taking
ropefish.
all of the ideas. So I'm going to have to say piranha now because he got a couple of mine. I
There
know
you
but
go.
I was
most people
thinking
can't keep those. So.
common. So if we're doing the common ones like those, yellow labs are extremely common.
Yeah.
So are OB peacocks. Like it's almost guaranteed if you ask somebody that keeps cichlids, they have a yellow lab and an OB peacock.
So is it fair? Can we just say African cichlid should have definitely been on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. African should have definitely, and they should have been higher than 18, honestly. I mean, if you're saying cherry barb is by its, you should have put cherry barbs with all the barbs, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're definitely right, Shy. Good job.
Yeah, and I definitely agree on the Daisy's rice fish. I think rice fish would be a great one.
Did you see my daisies when you were here?
I did. They were pretty.
Oh.
Yeah, very, very pretty.
Now that's going to go into Nathan's 55. So as soon as I get the betta wall set up, I bought the substrate for it today. So my plan is to put the daisies in a 55 gallon. There's 10 daisies, and hopefully they can create their own fry and not eat them in that big of a container. We'll see.
Good night, T-Bone. We are not far behind you. I appreciate you hanging out throughout tonight through the streams with us. I'm trying to think of anything else that you didn't list off there. I think.
How about rainbow sharks or red tail sharks? Those, they're not really a shark, but they're
not, but they can be ornery and they get bigger than a lot of people think they do. They can.
Yeah, we had Oscars.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, and I don't necessarily agree with Oscars being on there. I think they're a great fish, but
it's
really,
most popular.
Yeah, but the thing is,
popular.
They're most popular until they get to a certain size, and then most of them go back to the fish store or into a pond somewhere.
How about shrimp?
I was going to ask you if we could go outside of fish because I've got Neochiridinia on the desk here and all over the place, and I absolutely love them. Then you get into bamboo shrimp and mono shrimp, and so shrimp in general I think is a good one to add there.
So is anybody else? We had the white clouds, which was a great one.
Yep. So you said Bishers.
Oh, there wasn't any coolies, or not coolies, any loaches.
That's true.
Like coolie loaches, zebra. I love zebras. Clown loaches are always fun, and keep those in groups of 6 because but they get big. But yeah, they're always a lot of fun. But when they get big, pet stores will trade for those.
Yeah.
Because that's an easy one for pet stores to sell. You can kind of. What is he doing? He's just like walking through. He jumped up on the table just to walk to the other side of the room.
He's doing what cats do. Roseline Shark says Fantastic Freaks.
A lot of times, here's a trick that really works: is if you got a problem with hair algae, you can buy Siamese algae eaters, real little, and they will devour the hair algae. And when they get bigger, they're going to want to eat flakes. You can trade them back to your fish store for little ones. And the fish stores will almost always do that deal because people pay more for big fish, even though they're worthless well, they shouldn't say worthless because they're still a pretty fish, but they're not as good as the little one. So that's a trick that I've done. So
GRB Aquatics said Australian desert gobies. I think we should have some gobies of some sort on that list.
Did you see those Australian desert gobies at Aquatic Aesthetics?
I don't think I did.
They're a little less than an inch, and they're cute little yellow guys. They're pretty neat. I think they were selling for like $15 a piece or $12 a piece, something like that. Maybe it was $18. Bob Kaler might know if he's still here.
Amy Syncretic Aquatics is asking how I know when my silver dollars are too big for this tank. I don't remember what size tank, but if you want to send me the tank size and how big the fish are, we can figure that out. But it is
I would argue Frontosa too.
There we go with the cichlids, the Frontosas.
Yeah, but I mean Frontosa on their own. Like if you Google cichlids or go to Amazon and look up cichlid merge, you're gonna find a whole lot of Frontosa.
True. Very true.
Yeah, Fantastic Freaks is also saying he loves the clown and yo-yos.
Mm.
I love the zebras. I can't pass up zebras. When I see them at a store, I buy them because I just think they look so cool. Now, when they get bigger, they get darker, and you don't see their stripes as well. But I love the young ones. They're just beautiful. They're kind of like light gray, dark gray, and a brown stripe all the way across. It's so cool. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I never dreamt that this would last the whole night. I really thought this would be like a 5-minute discussion, but I'm glad it lasted. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you, Mods, Candy, and Zen. You guys are amazing. I'm pretty sure Bob's one of my. Oh, I just got rid of my thing, my text. I was going to see who else my mods were on right now. Well, thank you to all my other mods here tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you, Shai, for joining us tonight. We love picking your brain. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for having me.
You bet. And I think it's cool that you got the big chair too.
Yeah.
You deserve the cool chair.
I think we'll set up like this next time she's on.
Awesome.
I appreciate
Okay.
you having me on as always, Ed. Always a blast to be here, buddy.
Did you figure out what my catchphrase was? Something about get your hands wet? Have
Think it-
fun with your fish tank and get your hands wet? Or
I like that. That was similar to that, yeah.
have fun and get your... Sheesh. We'll work on it next week, guys. We'll see you next time.
Don't forget Dave's Aquarium Thoughts in about 25 minutes. Love y'all. Have a great night. See you Saturday for the Saturday Night Fever live stream.